We think of ourselves as the peak of human achievement. Smartphones, space stations, artificial intelligence. We are the most advanced civilization that has ever existed, right? What if I told you that thousands of years ago, there was a civilization so advanced, so impossibly sophisticated, that some of their accomplishments we literally cannot replicate today with all of our modern technology? This is not pseudoscience. This is not ancient aliens nonsense. This is documented, peer-reviewed archaeology, and it will fundamentally change how you think about human history. Let us start with the most obvious example, the Great Pyramid of Giza. Built around 2560 BCE, it contains approximately 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons, with some granite blocks in the interior weighing over 80 tons. The entire structure, which stood as the tallest man-made object on Earth for nearly 4,000 years, is aligned to true north with an accuracy of 3/60ths of a single degree. That is more precise than the Royal Greenwich Observatory, which was built in 1675 using the most advanced instruments of its time. But here's what really baffles engineers. The base of the Great Pyramid, which covers 13 acres, is level to within less than 1 inch across its entire footprint. Try laying a foundation that flat across 13 acres today without laser-guided equipment. Modern construction companies have attempted to replicate pyramid building techniques and found it extraordinarily difficult even with steel tools, cranes, and computer-aided design. In 1978, a Japanese construction company with unlimited budget attempted to build a small-scale pyramid using ancient methods. They failed. They had to resort to modern machinery. Now travel to ancient Rome. Roman concrete, called opus caementicium, was used to build structures like the Pantheon, whose unreinforced concrete dome remains the largest in the world after nearly 2,000 years. Modern concrete begins to crack and degrade within 50 years. The Romans built structures that have survived earthquakes, floods, and millennia of weathering. How? Scientists only cracked this mystery recently. In 2023, researchers at MIT discovered that Roman concrete contained lime clasts, small chunks of calcium that were previously thought to be impurities from sloppy mixing. It turns out they were intentional. When cracks form in Roman concrete, water seeps in and reacts with these lime clasts, essentially healing the crack by producing new calcium carbonate that fills the gap. Roman concrete is self-healing. We only figured out that they had this technology 2,000 years after they invented it. Then there is the Antikythera mechanism, pulled from a shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1901. It dates to roughly 100 BCE, and it is, without exaggeration, an analog computer. It has over 30 interlocking bronze gears and can predict solar and lunar eclipses, track the positions of the 5 known planets, calculate the dates of the ancient Olympic Games, and model the irregular orbit of the moon using a sophisticated pin-and-slot mechanism that accounts for lunar anomalies. Nothing even remotely close to this level of mechanical complexity would appear again in the historical record for over 1,000 years. When it was first discovered, scholars literally could not believe it was ancient. They assumed it had to be a modern artifact that somehow ended up in a Roman-era shipwreck. It was not. X-ray tomography has confirmed its ancient origins beyond any doubt. And we still do not fully understand how a civilization without electricity or precision machine tools could manufacture gears with tolerances measured in fractions of a millimeter. Move to ancient India, where surgeons were performing rhinoplasty, cataract surgery, and even cesarean sections as early as 600 BCE. The physician Sushruta, often called the father of surgery, described over 300 surgical procedures and 120 surgical instruments in his texts. His techniques for nose reconstruction were so sophisticated that British surgeons in the 18th century, upon encountering Indian surgeons performing rhinoplasties, adopted the methods and brought them back to Europe. We literally relearned plastic surgery from an ancient civilization. The ancient Egyptians had batteries. The Baghdad battery, dating to roughly 250 BCE, is a clay jar containing a copper cylinder and iron rod that, when filled with an acidic solution like vinegar, produces about 1 volt of electricity. Experiments have confirmed it works. What they used it for remains debated, but the fact that electrochemical cells existed over 2,000 years before Alessandro Volta is staggering. The Lycurgus cup, a Roman glass chalice from the 4th century CE, changes color depending on how light hits it. Viewed in reflected light, it appears green. Hold a light behind it, and it glows red. Scientists discovered in 1990 that the glass contains silver and gold nanoparticles approximately 70 nanometers in diameter. The Romans were working with nanotechnology. They may not have understood the physics of why it worked, but they perfected the technique of embedding metal nanoparticles in glass 1700 years before we coined the word nanotechnology. And perhaps most humbling of all, the Library of Alexandria, which at its peak housed an estimated 400,000 scrolls containing the accumulated knowledge of the ancient world, was destroyed over the course of several centuries through fires, neglect, and political upheaval. We will never know what was in those scrolls. Mathematical breakthroughs, engineering techniques, medical knowledge, astronomical observations, potentially centuries worth of human advancement, lost forever. History is not a straight line pointing upward. It is a jagged, broken path where entire civilizations rose to incredible heights and then fell, taking their knowledge with them into darkness. We are not standing on the shoulders of giants. We are standing on the amnesia of giants, rediscovering what they already knew and congratulating ourselves for it. Makes you wonder what else we have forgotten. If stories like this fascinate you as much as they fascinate me, hit subscribe. There is so much more